What's going on, guys? It's GBP baby. Welcome back to another video. This is going to be a weekly review, kind of, just because we didn't manage to post yesterday. But yeah, I hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody had a lovely Valentine's weekend. And yeah, let's dive straight into things. So as you can see, I do have my economic calendar up, and you can see we do have quite a lot of high impact news throughout this week in general. So tomorrow you can see we have high impact news on pound and dollar, a little bit on euro, but pound more specifically, and we'll talk more on that in a second. And then following Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, we have quite a lot of high impact news in general. So I'm expecting quite a lot of expansion this week. I'd like to think that we'll see a lot of movement and that we can get in on some nice moves in general. But looking at pound, it does look like there's going to be quite a lot of activity, so we'll be paying close attention to that. Now, what I did notice today is that pound is rallying significantly, and we'll talk more on that when we get to pound's review. But until then, let's start on dollars per usual and have a look at what we're thinking for the week. So ideally, we do want to see a down close week, meaning that we're looking for the highs to be made on Monday, Tuesday or Wednesday, and then we're going to be targeting some kind of sell side liquidity target, as in start trading down towards. Now on the monthly, you can see that there is a fair value gap down here. Let me just 1 second. You can see there is this fair value gap, which I would like to see price work its way down towards, so we will mark that out. And then if we drop down to the weekly, we should be able to look and see where price is coming from, and you can see we're currently leaving this bearish order block which was created last week. So more specifically, where in the bearish order block, it's going to be the open that I'm looking at, but this range as a whole, ICT has stated how wicks are ranges too, so we will be paying a bit of close attention towards this range as a whole. But let's just get this marked out as a weekly bearish order block high. Sorry, weekly bearish order block open even, and we can center that like so. And then this wick is what I'm talking about, as in, you know, if wicks are gaps too, that means that price should be, if it is, when it is to trade into this range, if it is to do so, it should be able to find resistance within it. So I am going to make this like a lighter grey, drag that out, and then I'm going to split it the same way I would any other do with any other fair value gap. And then ideally price will be able to rally into that to create the high of the week, and then I'd want to see continued expansion for us to start working our way towards these lows. Now more specifically, we can look at these lows, or this weekly low maybe, as a target for sell side. So let's get that marked out as the sell side liquidity, and I am going to mark everything out. I fail to do this commonly. And let me just turn off the economic calendar for now. So we've got weekly sell side liquidity. And we can move that to the right. And then we know that this is a weekly, I'm going to call it an implied inversion fair value gap, like an FVG. And like I said, it's implied because although this wick isn't specifically a gap, ICT states how wicks are gaps too, so we should treat it as one, and in that case we'd be treating it as a bearish fair value gap since it's closed below it. So any kind of rallying into that, I'd look for bearishness. And then even so, to back up our point, we can look at this high and this low. If we drag that through, and you can see how that lines up nicely with the open of that bearish order block, and this is more of a legitimate fair value gap, in that it's an inversion fair value gap, in that we're closing below it. So there's a few things we can look at here for sure. And you can see another thing as well is this bearish order block which we're trading in currently from over here. And once we get down into more of a discount, we're going to be studying this a bit more to see how it treats it, because it should reuse it. Basically, it'll be like a reclaimed bearish order block, but we can talk about more on that later. So let's go to the daily, and you'll see we didn't have much movement today at all. Someone in the Discord server did mention that today may have been an American holiday. I'm not sure. Looking at the news, I can see that there was no high impact news on the Monday in general. So yeah, it could have been a holiday. I'm not very aware. Do let me know in the comments. But yeah, you can see we do have Friday's high, which is where our weekly inversion fair value gap is. So it's best for us to look at, you know, previous day's highs and lows as targets in terms of where price may want to trade to. So let's get yesterday's high marked out, just because I'd like to think that price may want to run that before trading lower, or to create some kind of high of the week. Ideally, I'd like to think it could take out some kind of sell side liquidity up there, and then obviously we have sell side liquidity below here. So we're currently just range bound in that price hasn't moved today, and we will go down to the 4 hour, and again you can see not much movement whatsoever. So yeah, because of the lack of movement, there's not really much to say, in that other than moving into the new day, I'm going to be watching to see if price does want to rally. Now, we can mark out the Sunday opening price, and I will get that marked out. So let's just quickly delineate Sunday, which is right here. There's that Sunday opening price, and then we'll also delineate Monday, which is right here, and then we'll get Tuesday day marked out, and I'll make sure to have the rest of the week marked out for tomorrow's video. But until then, let's pay attention to that Sunday opening price, because as you know, price will use this all week long to gyrate around. So once we're above it, it should act, bullishly. Like once we climb back above here, I'd like to think that this opening price will help provide support for it to use to then trade on higher. And then, like I said, it'd be nice to think that we could run out some kind of buy side liquidity stops, such as this high, which is only visible on this time frame. So we'll get that marked out. And then, like I said, it'll be in this range where we're expecting price to find resistance anyway. So I'd like to think we can see some kind of rallying. Again, looking at how price is failing to take out these lows, and we're seeing continuous swings like this, I wouldn't be surprised if we continue to see that, and then it will come for it. It came for it later. That wouldn't surprise me at all. But that Monday high is now also going to be a target, and that is a daily high that price may want to try and run as we move into the new day. But yeah, it's going to be. I think tomorrow's going to be deciding in that. It's. If we do say take out that Sunday low, so if we do run these lows, then price will probably just drop off precipitously, and then we'll probably get a deep reversal later in the week, and I'm open to that. It's just that if we do manage to find ourselves above this Sunday opening price, then I'd like to think that it can continue to rally and take out some kind of highs in this range. But it's all depending on how obviously Asia range trades, and then how we treat the following day. So realistically, tomorrow I wouldn't be looking to trade until New York anyway. Furthermore, tomorrow, that time as well, is when we do have high impact news, as you can see, and FOMC minutes. And you can see FOMC minutes is quite late in the day. I think that's about I think it's usually about 2 p.m. there or something. So what will happen is that you won't see much movement until like 8:30, and then it will drag, or whatever's happening. FOMC minutes tends to be like a continuation of it. So I don't tend to like days like this, especially on Tuesdays, because it will drag right into the next day, as in into Wednesday, and then you'll see a lot of movement, which is why I'm not too concerned, and why I put it in surprise if we stayed in quite, there's a lot of back and forth price action, which we don't want to be getting ourselves caught too much up in currently. So that's just something to pay attention to in general. But if we go down a little bit lower, and you can see our price has been rallying, we do have a breaker, low, high, lower, low. So there is minimums, as in where we expect price to trade and respect. There's a breaker here more specifically, but I'm looking at this one just because it was made today, or this week, more essentially. And if we look at this high, the last up close candle before the down move, which is this candle right here. We are on a 5 minute, by the way. Maybe we should look at the 15. Regardless, there's this up close candle, and then there's this one as well. But my point is, price shouldn't. What I'm saying is that if price comes down into this range, I'd like to think it'll find support. If it drops below this, so let's say we get to the new day and we're below this range, I'd expect to use it as resistance and push on lower like a trampoline. But until then, as far as I'm concerned, this should be able to hold price, and based off that, we should be able to expect price to be able to rally into our premiums, as in up into that Monday high, and then potentially peaking into this range, which we're expecting resistance to be found at anyway. So let's just get that marked out, and that gives us a boundary. Now we have the lowest we want to see price trade, and then we have targets in the buy side if this is respected. If this is disrespected, so be it, and we'll see price drop off. It's just that I'm convinced that as soon as we take out this low, price will start running, just because of how delivery in general. But yeah, moving into New York, London, in the new day, I'll be paying close attention to this range. So that's everything on dollar. But overall, I'm expecting a down close week, so I'm actively in the charts looking for price to be rallying above the Sunday opening price, which is why I'm moving into Tuesday with that want and expectation that we can get up there. Obviously, it doesn't have to, and it could very well be that the highs made on the Monday. It's just that in the dream world, very typically we see that high get made on Tuesday or Wednesday. So it'd be nice to see if that can be executed, and more specifically, Tuesday London or Tuesday New York is when that high would be made. So now that we have that all set out, let's head on to GBP USD, and you'll see that GBP has been rallying quite a bit compared to its peers. We will go to the monthly here as well. Now obviously, if we're expecting a up close down close week on dollar, we want to see if pound can close higher. Similarly, pound has a fair value gap in the premium inverse to what dollar has, so let's get that delineated. We'll make this a nice blue. And then we also have this bullish order block similarly to dollar as well that was created. It's on a monthly level, which is nice to have. And then let's go down to the weekly. And again, that fair value gap is above these highs. We have these highs here and here to trade through. So, as far as I'm concerned, it should be quite a nice move higher. It's just that obviously we need to create some kind of low of the week. And like I said, with all the high impact news on pound anyway, there's room for it, as in, there's no lack of sentiment to drive price to create some kind of low this week. Let's go to the daily. And you can see we do have a nice breaker here, low, high, lower, low, and then price is trading on higher. So this is a breaker high anyway. So we'd anticipate price to be able to trade into this regardless. And then we also have this high as well. And look at volume. I like the fact that we're closed above it. So again, any return back into this range, and there's a fair value gap. And if we split that up nicely, you can see that 50% level just happens to line up with the open of the bullish order block from the monthly. So it would be nice to see if price can dig down into that before trading on higher. But like I said, we've been seeing pound rally, as in it took out Friday's high, whereas euro has failed to, and you saw how dollar fails to take out the same Friday low. So that is indicative that there's some kind of divergence going on here, which may give room for price to have to catch up and maybe drop. So something to consider. But let's go to the 4 hour, and there's how that high just got taken out. We'll mark that out. So it's grabbed by side liquidity, and then we'd want to see it offset it at some kind of 1 hour PD array. But let's look more closely. We have sell stops below here. I'm liking the look of these lows more specifically because there's a nice fair value gap down here, and there's also a fair value gap here as well. So there's definitely discount PD arrays. We've just grabbed stops above here. Price may want to play about up there a little bit more and then drop, so do allow for that. But generally speaking, assuming that dollar is able to respect its pink PD array, which I'll draw our attention to, there's no reason for me not to expect that pound should be able to drop and create some kind of low. Let's go to the 1 hour, and you can see we're kind of just tinkering around. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if we found price meandering a little bit more, maybe consolidating and then dropping. And then look at these lows all along here. This is all sell side liquidity, as in I believe there's a lot of stops below there that price will naturally try and attempt to attack. So moving into London session on the back of the news, maybe we might run stops one more time and drop. But I'm looking at these lows very nicely, and then that fair value gap. And if price gets overzealous, digging down into here as well, which will line us up nicely with this monthly level I was talking about. So there's a few things. I do think tomorrow's going to be a lot more telling, as in for the rest of the week. Again, I don't know if it was a holiday or what today, but the price action has been very, you can see it, if you look at it, this is not clean price action. This is very, here's not too bad. But this is high resistance conditions, and we need to there's always a point in the week where price just loosens up. And that usually tends to be after that, that Tuesday afternoon or after around Wednesday. So that's what I'm expecting to be happening. But we just got to give it time. And then overall, these relative equal lows, they just look too clean to me, as in the price, they're not just going to leave that down there. I want to see that get gobbled up for lunch and then price drop into it, and then maybe on the back of news or sentiment reverse after creating a potential low or something. But let's get that Sunday level marked out nonetheless. And again, we will study this throughout the week because it's so important. So we've got the Sunday opening there, Monday, and then we're moving into Tuesday tomorrow. And we'll get the Sunday opening price dragged out, which is right here. Excuse me. And again, look, we haven't spent much time below. We've only been, now, I think only once or twice in my life have I seen the low of the week get created on the actual Sunday itself. So the fact that that's only happened once in my time of trading says to me that at some point prices, if we're going to have an up close week, at some point price is going to want to run this stop. Whether we're going to have up close or down close, at some point price is going to run this stop. So what's that? That's an easy setup for us when we do start to see a break in market structure and price running for us to look for, because it's rare, very rare, that a low gets created on Sunday like that. So it's nice to see that that's left intact. Like I said, they've intentionally built this in, I believe, on pound, and I want to see it get eaten for lunch, as I said. But yeah, that's going to be everything on pound. Pretty basic, but we should have some nice setups to send us down there on the back of the news, fill in the fair value gaps, and then below these lows, in line ideally with dollar making some kind of premium as it trades up higher, but we'll see. So finally, we're going to finish up on Euro USD. I am going to go to the monthly again. And again, same thing, there's a nice big fair value gap. Like, there's clear targets on these pairs, guys, as to where we want to see price trade, as in there's imbalances on the monthly. It's just you have to remember the monthly is such a high time frame that when you're working down right down to the 4 hour and 1 hour, it's going to take time to get there. Like, we're going to be seeing all the fractal nature of price and the 1 hours and 4 hours, and it's going to get to us. But, you know, generally speaking, we have a target, so there's no reason for us to be changing our bias otherwise. And that's one thing I think we all need to focus on a little bit more. But similarly, bullish order block, I'm looking at this wick. Why? Because the open of the bullish order block, that's way too far for price. If you look at the current trading range, you know, it's all the way back down at the 50% level. We're past that 75% level, as in, how do I explain it? I don't really ideally want to see price drop all the way down there. Wouldn't be ideal. However, the wick, again, wicks are gaps too. If we treated it as one, and this is still something I'm studying, putting it to the test, but, you know, treat it as an inversion fair value gap, and we expect price to tap into it and then be able to turn and trade higher into highs here and here. So let's get that marked out as buy side liquidity here. And then over here as well. And then go down to the daily. And then we have a mitigation block in that we've got a low, high, higher low expansion. So this up close is where I'm looking for price to tap down into, moving into the daily. Now we have a fair value gap here that it may want to fill, but it may want to go a little bit further than that, and we will allow for that. But generally speaking, we're looking for that buy side to get traded to at some point this week. Let's go to the 4 hour. You can see consolidation and some beautiful price action right here. I do like, so seeing this range from this high to this low up to here, this is some gorgeous price action, as in just looking at it makes me happy because it looks clean. So I'd like to think that price will be able to come back down into this consolidation. We have a large wick here. Like, you can see where you can see the ranges in which price has been delivered fairly, as in upside, downside, left. So this range right here has, I'm happy with that, as in price shouldn't be able to get down below that at all this week. That'd be the very lowest I'd want to see price trade, if at all. But when it taps into there, we might find that we're spending time in there, but it should be able to leave it comfortably in that it's already been traded on both sides comfortably. And then again, try and reach our premium targets. Let's go to the 1 hour. And then same thing as pound. Again, we just want to see us drop, create some kind of discount. We have a low, high, lower low. So this last large up close candle is a breaker. So there's reason for price that we may want to go down there. And then on the 15-minute, we do have a fair value gap in that range I was talking about, which would be nice to see if price can trade into and turn around inside off. It's rare that I call out levels like this. I used to back a day, like a year ago or two. I used to get very specific, like every video on where I wanted to see price turn and everything. It just drove me insane. But this is looking like a nice, target for price on the discount to create the low, maybe of the week, in line with pound again, dropping down significantly, and then dollar being able to ideally rally, assuming it can hold itself. Honestly, guys, like, I really don't want to see this low get taken tomorrow, and that it would support me a lot in wanting to see that rally if we fail to take out this low, because I'm convinced that once we take that, price is just going to start running. But let's go back to euro, and we're going to quickly just do the Sunday opening price again, and this will be useful to us this week. And then we have high input news on euro tomorrow as well. So there is sentiment. And then similarly, again, it's very rare I've seen the high of a week get made on a am I going right? It's very rare you see any. Oh, it didn't happen. It didn't occur in this circumstance. Never mind. But yeah, this is a Sunday opening. We're below it again. Consider the fact that we're below this Sunday opening price right now, and we want to see lower prices. That should act as a defense for prices. In price shouldn't be able to rally up there until we're done in the discount, and we know where our discount PD array is, as in for price to want to trade to. So ideally in London we start to see expansion below there, and then we can look at the trading range as well between this low to this high. You see we're at this 50% level, this 25% level, sorry. But once it gets below that, I'd like to think it would use as resistance. There'll be a fair value gap that forms around here, and then price can continue to push lower, taking out lows here, here, below that 50% level into the discount, because this will be the discount of the current trading range for us to go long. So that would be the perfect setup for me on euro. But again, this is all assuming that dollar behaves itself. So that's going to be everything, guys. I hope that all makes sense. Don't forget to drop a like, drop a comment, smash subscribe, join the mailing list, join me over on Discord as well. And yeah, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.